Picture this. You are a naval commander. Your country is being devoured from the north. The capital has fallen in 19 days. Your own king wants you dead. Your fleet has just been reduced from over 160 ships to 13. And somewhere out there, more than 100 enemy warships are sailing straight toward you. A rational person writes a resignation letter. Yi Sun-sin looked at those numbers and said, "Good. I know exactly which strait to use." This is the story of Admiral Yi Sun-sin, the man who fought at least 23 naval battles during the Imjin War and won every single one. Not some of them, all of them. Today, we are breaking down the 5 impossible situations that defined his legend and the cold, brilliant logic he used to flip every single one. Stay locked in, because each one gets wilder than the last. Impossible situation. Number 1. The man who had never commanded a naval battle in his life and won 3 in his first week. Japan's invasion of Korea began in 1592, when Toyotomi Hideyoshi dispatched over 150,000 soldiers across the Korea Strait. The Japanese swept northward, capturing Hansong and then Myeongnyang in quick succession. The army was crumbling. Seoul was gone. The king had fled. It was a full-blown national catastrophe, except on the water, where one man had spent the previous year quietly preparing for exactly this moment. Yi had strengthened his province's navy, constructed the turtle ship, drilled his men, mapped the coastline, and stockpiled supplies. When the invasion hit, he won the Battle of Okpo, the Battle of Sacheon, and several others in quick succession, reporting the destruction of 26 ships in the first Korean victory of the war. Over the following 24 hours, he sank an additional 20 vessels. Korean losses, 0 ships, 3 casualties. In his first engagements ever, as a naval commander. The audacity is almost offensive. But wait until you hear what his secret weapon actually looked like, because impossible situation number 2 involves a ship so terrifying the Japanese didn't know what to do with it. The turtle ship, the Gaobuxian. Its armored spiked roof resembled a turtle shell. Its dragon-shaped prow could emit smoke. Now here is what you need to understand about naval combat in the 1590s. Japanese tactics relied on bringing ships alongside enemy vessels and sending soldiers over the side to fight hand-to-hand. Boarding. That was the whole plan. The Japanese were exceptional at it. So Yi built a ship you literally cannot board. Iron spikes covered the top to deter boarding. Riding low in the water, the sealed fighting deck was studded with spikes and packed with cannon. Cannon with longer range and power than anything the Japanese carried, since Japan heavily favored troop transport over naval artillery. Think about what that means. The Japanese arrive with their best boarding tactics. The turtle ship rolls in. Arrows bounce off. Samurai try to jump aboard and get impaled on iron spikes. Korean cannons fire from ranges the Japanese cannot match. The turtle ship debuted at Sacheon in May 1592, charged into the Japanese fleet, absorbing projectiles that would have destroyed an unprotected ship, and emerged victorious. A weapon built for a specific enemy's specific weakness. That is not luck. That is a man who had done his homework. Nothing prepared the Japanese for what came next at Hansen Island. Impossible situation number 3. The battle historians compare to Salamis, Midway, and Trafalgar all at once. The Japanese fleet under Wakizaka Yasuharu had 73 ships. Yi sent a small detachment forward to lure them into open water. Classic Yi. Never fight the enemy where they're comfortable. Drag them somewhere they're not. Once in open water, Yi deployed the Hakik-jin, the crane wing formation. The Korean fleet assumed a U-shape with heavy warships in the center and lighter ships on the wings. The Japanese sailed straight into the arms of that formation and never came out. At least 59 Japanese vessels were destroyed or captured. Korean casualties, around 19 dead. Wakizaka himself jumped ship and fled on a faster vessel. The strategic consequences were massive. Japan's invasion depended on sea supply lines. Yi's dominance of Korea's southern coastal waters severed those lines, forcing the Japanese army in the north to operate without adequate provisions or reinforcements. One battle, 59 ships destroyed. The entire Japanese supply chain collapsed. 19 Korean deaths. If you are the Japanese high command at this point, you are furious, and you start looking for another way to deal with Yi Sun-sin. What they found leads us to impossible situation number 4, the most personal, most brutal chapter of this entire story. They couldn't beat him on the water, so they went after him at court. In 1597, a Japanese double agent fed false intelligence to the Korean court, claiming the Japanese fleet would pass through a specific strait at a specific time. Yi was ordered to attack, but he recognized it as a trap and refused. His enemies at court seized the opening. Yi was relieved of command, arrested, taken to Seoul in chains, and tortured almost to the point of death. King Seonjo wanted him executed. Supporters convinced the king to spare him based on his record. Yi was demoted to the rank of a common infantry soldier, a punishment considered worse than death for Joseon generals, who lived by honor. Yi responded by quietly going about his work as if his rank and orders were appropriate. The greatest naval commander in Korean history, tortured, broken, demoted to foot soldier, and he just got on with it. No tantrum, no betrayal, just duty. Then came the consequences of removing him. His replacement led the Joseon fleet to near-total destruction at the Battle of Chilchonryang, the only major Korean naval defeat of the entire war. Of hundreds of ships, only 12 survived. The entire navy Yi had built from nothing, gone in one battle under a different commander. The court had no choice but to recall him. He was reinstated and given command of those 12 surviving vessels. 12 ships. The Japanese were coming with over 100. Which brings us to impossible situation number 5, the one military historians still can't fully explain. Myeongnyang, the Battle of Myeongnyang, October 26, 1597. Korean sources indicate 120 to 133 Japanese ships participated in combat, with up to 330 in total. All sources agree the Japanese outnumbered the Koreans by at least 10 to 1, with 12 ships. Yi didn't panic. He studied the Myeongnyang Strait like a chess player studying a board. The strait's currents reversed direction with the tides, and Yi knew exactly when that reversal would happen. He positioned his 12 ships at the narrowest point and waited. Then he went first, alone, sailing his flagship directly at over 100 enemy vessels, so that his terrified sailors would have no choice but to follow. The tightness of the channel prevented the Japanese from maneuvering or boarding. The tide flipped. The current began pushing their ships backward into each other. Chaos. 31 Japanese warships were sunk or crippled. 0 Korean ships lost. 0 ships lost. But here is the thing about Yi Sun-sin that separates him from every other military genius in history. He didn't get to ride off into the sunset. The Battle of Noryang, December 1598, the last battle of the Imjin War. Hideyoshi had died unexpectedly. The Japanese were ordered home. The war was functionally over. Yi could have let them go. Instead, leading roughly 150 allied Joseon and Ming Chinese ships, he attacked the retreating Japanese fleet and destroyed or captured more than half of their 500 vessels. He was not going to let the invaders escape without a final accounting. During the pursuit, a stray arquebus bullet struck Admiral Yi near his left armpit. The wound was fatal. His last words, "The battle is at its height. Beat my war drums. Do not announce my death." His son and nephew carried his body into his cabin before anyone could notice. For the remainder of the battle, Yi Wan wore his uncle's armor and kept beating the war drum. He died winning. And his men kept winning, because even his death, he turned into a tactical advantage. So how does one man keep finding a way when everything is against him? Look at the pattern. At Okpo, preparation over panic. At Sacheon, technology to neutralize an enemy's greatest strength. At Hansen Island, geography and formation to turn superior numbers into a trap. At Myeongnyang, the environment itself, the tides, the strait, the current, as a weapon. Through all of it, even when his own government tortured him and stripped his rank, Yi remained undefeated in every naval engagement he commanded. Military historians have placed Yi Sun-sin alongside Admiral Horatio Nelson as arguably the greatest naval commander in history. And yet, in the West, most people have never heard his name. That is a problem we can fix, one video at a time. Today, a towering statue of Yi Sun-sin stands in Gwanghwamun Square in central Seoul, and his face appears on the Korean 101 coin. A nation literally carries him in its pockets. That is what it means to be truly legendary. If this story hit different for you, if you found yourself leaning in, jaw dropping, genuinely asking how one man kept doing this, then you already know what to do. Hit subscribe, drop a comment telling me which battle you think was his most insane, and share this with someone who thinks they know their military history. Because odds are, they don't know Yi Sun-sin, and that gap needs closing right now.